Hi there, everyone, and a very warm welcome to News in English with Tutor Tom for the 3rd of October 2023. Today, I have an amazing article for you. It's related to travel. Now, one of the questions I ask my students when I'm having a lesson with them is, which country would you love to go and study or work in or live in? And you can choose any country around the world. And many of my students, particularly those from China, mention Canada as a country that they would love to go and live in. So we've got a really good article today titled, "Why Does Canada Have Three of the World's Most Livable Cities?" So this is a really, really interesting article about how Canada is an amazing place to live. So if you're thinking about it, I hope this inspires you further. If you're already living in Canada, let me know what your experience is like living, studying, working in Canada. And if Canada isn't the country you'd like to go and live in, what would be your dream destination? Where would you love to live around the world? Let me know in the comments below. And I will tell you at the end of the article which is the country that I would choose, even though it's very, very difficult because there are many countries I would love to go and live in, but there is one particular country that I love the most. Anyway, let's get into the article. And let's first have a look at this absolutely amazing picture here of Vancouver in Canada. Absolutely gorgeous. That immediately makes me want to go and live there, or at least go there on a holiday. It looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, so with Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto all ranked in the top 10 of the Global Livability Index 2023, we speak to residents in each city to find out what makes life so sweet. While European and Scandinavian destinations frequently find themselves atop world indexes, like the world's healthiest countries or best countries for raising children, Canada has quietly been marching up the ranks as a country to contend with. That's been especially apparent in the latest Most Livable Cities Index, conducted by the Economist Intelligence Unit, which named 3 of Canada's cities in the top 10, more than any other country represented. The top 3 Canadian cities on the list included Vancouver, ranked 5th, Calgary, tied 7th with Geneva, and Toronto, ranked 9th, each with perfect healthcare and education scores. Those factors appeal to Canadians, who praise positive governmental policies that improve quality of life there. Our progressive politics and universal healthcare make Canada a wonderful place to live, said Vancouver resident Samantha Folk. I cannot imagine living in a country where I have to worry about being able to afford to see a doctor or take my child to the hospital, or risk bankruptcy by having cancer. This sense of care extends beyond politicians, leading to a feeling of community that improves livability both at work and home. Lending a hand at schools, to supporting seniors, to uplifting business owners. Canadians are known for their friendly and supportive nature, said Jane Stoller, Vancouver resident and founder of Organised Jane, a life business organising service. This sense of camaraderie fosters a positive environment where individuals can thrive and find fulfillment in both their personal and professional lives. Canada's investment in public transportation and transit systems also makes navigating its big cities easier. Folk, who has also lived in Montreal, Calgary, and Toronto, didn't get her driver's license until she was 24, and a friend of hers is finally getting his at 53, simply because they haven't needed a car to get around. However, what residents love most is the strong connection that the nation has to the outdoors. All three of the most livable cities, like so many cities in Canada, are located close to nature and have also incorporated it into their city design, said Falk. There's the ravine system and the beaches in Toronto, Mont Royal and tree-lined streets in Montreal, and Vancouver has Stanley Park, one of the world's best examples of urban nature. But even outside the big cities, the focus on nature remains a prominent feature, mirroring the importance of the wilderness to residents. We are outdoor people, Falk said. Spread across the world's second largest country by landmass, each of the three Canadian cities has their own unique appeal. We talk to residents in each place to find out what keeps them living in and loving their respective cities. So first, Vancouver. Located on the country's scenic west coast, Vancouver inched out as Canada's most livable city thanks to sky-high scores in the Culture and Environment Subindex, outranked only by Auckland in the top 10. That's a sentiment that residents echo, who are blown away by the natural beauty here. Vancouver's unique and gorgeous combination of mountains and ocean makes it irresistible, said Falk, who runs her eponymous communications firm out of the city. Even after 20 years living in Vancouver, the city still takes my breath away. To get the most out of the city and feel at home here, she says you must get outside, even and especially when it's raining. One easy place to do that is Stanley Park, a 405-hectare public park in the city centre that has a coastal rainforest with centuries-old trees, including the still standing stump of a 700 to 800-year-old red cedar called the Hollow Tree. For the truly hardcore, she recommends hiking the 2.9-kilometre Grouse Grind Trail up the face of Grouse Mountain. Often referred to as nature's stairmaster, the trail will make you feel like throwing up, but the payoff at the top is well worth it, she said. Have a coffee or a glass of wine at the mountaintop restaurant and soak in the view and take the gondola down. For those that prefer calmer adventures, the food scene is one that's hard to beat. From fancy restaurants to cool food trucks and farmers markets, you'll never run out of tasty treats, said Stoller. Residents especially rave about Vancouver's sushi, which she says is the best and cheapest selection of sushi restaurants outside Japan. The city also fosters an entrepreneurial and collaborative mindset that creates a welcoming sense of home. Vancouver people are open-minded, diverse, and love coming together for arts, tech, or green initiatives, said Stoller. She also says the small geographical footprint keeps the city organized and creative. You won't find as many big box stores here, which promotes shopping local and supporting the community, she said. It's a win-win for everyone. Calgary. Situated near the Rocky Mountains in the western province of Alberta, Calgary outscored the other two Canadian cities with its perfect stability result in the index. That's a measure of civil unrest and government corruption. Residents describe Calgary as having a small town feel with big city amenities, while also having a lower cost of living than Canada's other comparable cities. Despite being one of the largest cities in Canada, Calgary manages to retain a unique charm, one that comes from friendly locals, a community-oriented mindset, and neighborhood-centric farmers markets, said resident and travel blogger Laura Pope. Yet it doesn't lack when it comes to trendy eateries, cultural festivals, and amazing nightlife. The city is also diverse, the third most diverse in Canada, with more than 240 ethnic origins and 165 languages. The city also has a lucrative oil and gas industry, a large white-collar business community, and an affordable cost of living. Calgarians have money and love to spend it, said Jesse P. Kayabo, a communications professional who moved to the city from Edmonton 3 years ago. That means the walkable downtown and surrounding areas are packed during the summer months, while hockey season sees suits and ties swapped for Calgary Flames jerseys, she explained. The annual Calgary Stampede, which starts the first Friday of July, serves as a 10-day party and rodeo where everyone wears Western gear and the festival welcomes people from all over the world. People go out, patios are packed, and restaurants are busy, echoed resident Shannon Hughes, owner of Calgary-based Captivate Benefits advisory firm. She suggests booking a spot at Major Tom restaurant at sunset to truly appreciate the city's mountain views. Like much of Canada, the ease of access to nature improves the quality of life here. Calgary has the most extensive paved pathway and bikeway network in North America, with more than 1,000 kilometers of paths for walkers and cyclists. My bike rides along these paths have led me to discover some of the city's hidden gems, provided spectacular views, and given me a daily dose of the outdoors that I crave, said Pope. Even in winter, the city has no shortage of activities, from skiing, skating, tubing, snowshoeing, and even ice biking, with much of the infrastructure still in place from when the city hosted the 1988 Winter Olympics. Residents do say the winters are long and cold, so expats coming from warmer climates should invest in some good quality winter gear. And finally, Toronto. As Canada's most populous city, Toronto combines big city vibes with more than 1,500 parks that keep residents connected to the outdoors. With a perfect score in the stability sub-ranking, Toronto maintains a sense of safety that lets people feel comfortable whether they're walking, taking public transport, or cycling. In particular, the human-centered infrastructure means that life is much easier than in comparable big cities. Residents especially rave about the path, the underground pedestrian walkway that makes the Canadian winter more bearable. From my office to the airport, dining, shopping, and even doctor appointments, everything is conveniently accessible without the need for a winter coat, said resident Huang An Li, who blogs at Luxury Under Budget. Resident Kyra Marskell agrees, saying while the Toronto Transit Commission isn't without its flaws, having integrated transit options, most of which come within 4 minutes, makes a world of difference when coming from a suburb where driving is the only option. We also have rental bikes all around the city, which is a great green-friendly commuting option I've recently enjoyed, she added. The city is also known for its diversity, with more than 51% of its residents born outside of Canada. It's the only major Western city where the visible, non-white minority is the majority, said Marcus Rader, CEO and co-founder at software company Hostaway. There are chances to experience a lot of cultures and languages here, And Canada embraces multiculturality rather than pushing for assimilation. The cultural diversity enriches the community through a variety of festivals, cuisines at every price point, and a respect for sharing new ideas and ways of living. An entrepreneurial spirit also influences Toronto. From big business, Uber, Google, and Facebook all have offices here, to new startups. In recent years, the city has become North America's third largest tech hub, just behind New York City and Silicon Valley. When paired with city's diverse community, the tech scene creates great exposure to people from different cultures and backgrounds, say residents. It's interesting getting to learn cultural habits in relation to people's work and personal lives, said Jonathan Azori, CEO and co-founder of Catch Corner, an app to book sports facilities. It's almost as if you gain a sense of international work-life experience without needing to leave the city. Okay, so that wraps up the article. A very long article, but a beautiful article. It's one article that has made me really want to go and visit Canada, to live there, to possibly work there. I personally love the great outdoors, and these cities embrace the outdoors. And Canada has to have some of the most beautiful countryside in the world. So it's a country that I can understand why so many of my students want to go and either study there, work there, or live there. But in terms of the country that I would most like to move to, that would be Thailand. Thailand is a country I've loved for a long time, since my first trip there probably 20 years ago. And I find that Thailand has everything that I am personally looking for. Everyone speaks English there, so the language isn't a barrier. It's a beautiful country with amazing wildlife and landscapes and beaches. The weather is fantastic. And also, the cost of living is very, very low. You can live like a king or queen on a very low budget. And finally, the people, the Thai people, are some of the most friendly people I've ever met. So it's a country that I would choose to live in if I had the choice. So I'm interested to hear your views, your thoughts. Where would be the country that you would love to live in and why? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, it was a very long article, so there's loads and loads of amazing words in this article. You may need to go through the video several times to listen to everything, because it's quite a long video. But take the time to do so, because picking up some of the words from this article will really enrich your English speaking. So let's go through some of the words that I liked from this article. So the first one is liveable. Liveable. That is of an environment or climate fit to live in. For example, one of the most livable cities in the world. Livability. Livability is being suitable for living in. The quality or fact of being suitable for living in. Atop. Atop. So that is on the top of. For example, the weather vane is perched atop the Great Tower. Atop, on the top of. Camaraderie. Camaraderie. Mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together. Camaraderie. For example, the enforced camaraderie of office life. Prominent. Prominent. That means important or famous. It can also mean projecting from something. So in the first example, she was a prominent member of the city council. An example of the second version is a man with big, prominent eyes like a lobster's. So that is the use of the word prominent. Wilderness. Wilderness. An uncultivated, uninhabited, and inhospitable region. It can also mean a neglected or abandoned area, or it could also mean a position of disfavor, especially in a political context. So that is the word wilderness. Respective. Respective. belonging or relating separately to each of two or more people or things. For example, they chatted about their respective childhoods. That's the word respective. And then finally, probably my favorite word, irresistible. Irresistible. Too attractive and tempting to be resisted. For example, he found the delicious looking cakes irresistible. That's the word irresistible.